Hey guys, welcome to a training within the Psychology Business Services. I'm super excited to have you here and to share a really exciting training all about hashtags and why they're important for your business. So let's just get straight into it and let me just share my screen with you so you guys can see exactly what I'm going to be kind of touching upon as we go through today's training. So with regards to hashtags, why is it that we even need hashtags in the first place? Like, what is it about them that's really going to help us navigate the right traffic to our actual platforms? And that's a really great question to have, because hashtags play a really crucial part in our business, especially if we are featured on social media platforms where we are basically trying to get the right audience over to our account. So before we even think about how we're going to use hashtags effectively, we want to really make sure that we understand why hashtags are even important. So the reason why hashtags are important on specific platforms, like for example, Instagram, is because hashtags can give us the search engine optimization that we need for our business. So the SEO that you hear about websites and different kinds of online platforms, it also applies to social media as well, because they can also be used as certain search engines, but also they can have certain features like hashtags, which can divert traffic to those particular platforms. Now, obviously, if there are lots of people that are on a specific platform, you then want to make sure that that traffic is being navigated to your specific accounts. So hashtags can really help you to become searchable, they can give you exposure, and they can also drive the right traffic to your actual business. So how do we get started with this? Well, there's a couple of brainstorming sessions that you really need to sit down and do with yourself before you actually get an idea of what hashtags are going to be right for your business. To start off with, you want to be making sure that you're brainstorming about yourself, your trade, your title, your expertise and skill, and your aim and purpose. Why is it that you're on social media? Why is it that you have a business? What are you actually offering? And the thing is that if we try to appeal to everyone and anyone, then we actually end up not appealing to anyone at all, because through the message that we give, we have to have a certain level of consistency. That doesn't mean we can't digress onto other things that interest us. That doesn't mean we can't be multifaceted or multi-passionate in our business, but there has to be some level of consistency in your business through your messaging and through the services that you're offering. So we want to make sure that we are very specific about what it is that we're offering and what it is that we have to basically show for ourselves. So with that, you have to really be clear about your trade and your title and look at the key words and phrases that are associated with your trade, your title, with your expertise and skill, and with your aim and purpose. And I've got a couple of examples laid out here. This isn't just for one person. This is an idea of how specific you can get with your actual keywords when you are trying to find out which keywords are more specific to you and your business. So for example, you may call yourself a psychologist, but then you may also be a CBT therapist, a hypnotherapist, an REBT therapist. And even if you're a psychologist, you might also call yourself a wellness guru. So obviously you want to make sure that the trade and title keywords that you're using are very specific to you and your business. The same goes with expertise. Here we've got CBT, CFT, anxiety management, dealing with depression, healing through well-being. If you don't do any of these things, or you do some of these things, then there's no point including them all. So you want to make sure, again, that the skills that you are displaying in these particular kind of keywords are very specific to you and what it is that you offer. And your aim and your purpose. So is it that you want to help people manage their anxiety? Is it that you want to help them live freely? Is it that you want to help them align with their purpose and prioritize themselves? Or is it that you're very specific on something like weight loss? So again, like if you think about weight loss itself, you can think about lots of different keywords that might be associated just with weight loss. If that is your only aim as part of the service that you offer, then that is what you want to keep your focus on. Once you've actually had a think about yourself, you then want to think about your ideal client. If you're not quite sure who your ideal client is yet, don't worry, I've got resources coming on that. But for now, just think about your client in terms of their interests, their issues, and the modality that you want to work with them. when it comes to thinking about your client, you want to make sure that you're really, really aware of the way that they function, the way that they think, the way that they experience life. So that is thinking about what kinds of interests they have, what kinds of things would they be searching for on hashtag if they were to be your ideal client. Same goes for issues. What kinds of things might they be posting, and what kinds of simple words and phrases might they be using in a post that they have posted or a hashtag that they have used. So an example of this would be, you know, having lots of thoughts of worry. They might put a hashtag saying worrying or overthinking, something like that. But we know as psychologists or as therapists that we might use specific keywords like rumination, but a normal person may not use the word rumination as part of their hashtags. So we want to make sure that when we are picking keywords and searches, that they're not too complex in terms of the terminology that we're using, and that they do reflect on things that are being searched for by your ideal client so that they would come across your channel. When it comes to modality that you want to work with, this does think more about like how this does suggest how much you want to kind of work with other people rather than the clients wanting to work with you. So obviously, if you offer one-to-one coaching or you offer workshop, couples therapy and therapy, then for a person that's looking for an ebook or a guide, for example, would not be suited to the way that your services are set up, because obviously you want to work directly with people rather than offering some kind of guide or ebook that they can use as a self-help tool. So you want to make sure, again, that the modality that you want to work with them is going to be reflected in your keywords and searches as well, so that you're able to, again, think about how the right people are going to find your services through the searches that they do on Instagram. Brainstorm your content. So here you're going to be thinking about actually your own content and what it is that you're going to put out there in terms of your posts and the videos or Instagram TVs or IGTVs, or even your stories. Like, what kinds of information are you putting out there? And again, if you're very specific about your keywords, you can make sure that you're sticking to those messages when you are talking about things on your platforms. So think about the message that you are basically portraying in your posts and in your content, and make sure that you're selecting the keywords and phrases that are extremely relevant to those content pieces. Because again, this is what's going to help you to make sure that you're using the right hashtags for the content that you're putting out. The same goes for therapy, service, and product. So if your post is a sales post, in the sense where it's not just giving information, but it's also giving information about how they can access your services, then you want to make sure that you're including a keyword or phrase that is associated with the product or service that you are selling. So again, if somebody's looking for a one-to-one consultation or private therapy or coaching or a workshop, then again, you will come up on their feed or on their Explorer page or on their searches if they were to search for such things. Now, with these keywords and phrases, you want to make sure that you are identifying up to five different keywords and searches for each of the brainstorming sections that you're doing. Once you've done that, you're then going to start going onto Instagram and thinking about exactly how much these keywords and phrases are being used on Instagram. So you want to basically go onto the Instagram app, and you want to go onto the Explorer page, which will look a little bit like excuse me, which will look a little bit like this picture here. And this picture basically has a search box at the top, which basically, reflects exactly what Instagram Explorer page looks like. So if you go to the top of the bar and you hit your hashtag icon or your hashtag key on your keypad, then you will be able to come up with lots of different hashtags. So then if you type in a word, for example, therapy, it will come up with lots of different hashtags that are associated with the word therapy. Now you can see here that therapy is either therapy itself, or it's therapy at the start, or therapy at the end of the hashtag. So it's great that you can put in one small keyword or phrase and it'll come up with lots of different hashtags, and you can then decide which one is most relevant to you and your business and your post or your message that you are trying to put out there. Once you've actually had a look through different hashtags, you then want to start paying attention to this number here. So this is something that you want to pay attention to the most when it comes to your hashtags, because this will tell you how much the hashtags are being used on Instagram. So say, for example, if you're a very small account with under 100 followers and you're using hashtags that are very, very big hashtags that have over 1 million or even 10 million in this case uses, it's going to be very hard for you to show up on the algorithm for Instagram using your own posts. So this is why you want to make sure that you're using the relevant hashtags for your business, not only in terms of keywords and keywords and phrases, but also how much the hashtags have been used. So we split the hashtags up not only by keywords and phrases, but also by the amount of times that they have been used on Instagram so far. And here we've got a little bit of a guide which tells you that 1 to 50K uses equals to a small hashtag, 50K to 500K is a medium hashtag, and then 500K to 1 million is large. Now you could split these up even further and have like small to mid, mid to large, you know, have in between kind of categories for sizes. But I think it can get really, really time consuming when you are looking at lots of different sections. So that's why it's helpful to start off with this. And once you've kind of got used to doing hashtag searches like this, you can then start looking at maybe like 20,000 to 50,000 or, you know, 200,000 to 500,000 and look at the kinds of hashtags that are in between and make sure that, again, you're strategically kind of finding the right hashtags that are right for you and your business. The other thing that you want to think about is, okay, so once I've picked my hashtags, like how many do I want to make sure that I'm putting into a set? So you want to create hashtag sets of 30 because that is the most hashtags that Instagram will allow you to post on one particular post. So you want to make sure that when you are creating sets, you are creating them in sets of 30. Now, how do we split them up in terms of small, medium, and large? Well, this little guide here will tell you a little bit about how you can split them up in terms of your following. So if you have a following of 0 to 2K, then I would suggest that you use 25 small hashtags and 5 medium. If you were to have 2 to 5K followers, then look at 20 small and 7 medium and 3 big. 5 to 10K, 15 small, 12 medium and 3 big. 10 to 50K, 10 small, 15 medium, and 5 big. And then 50K plus would be 10 small, 10 medium, and 10 big. And 10 small, 10 medium, and 10 big is typically what people do. But actually what that ends up doing is it makes you kind of lost within the algorithm and also within the hashtags because your platform or your channel or your page is just not performing to the level that it can be seen within the bigger hashtags. So you want to make sure that you're kind of like changing up the hashtags as your account grows to make sure that you are then reaching the right kinds of people. So once you've done your hashtag searches and you've had an idea of what kind of sets you want, what do we do after that? Well, you want to split hashtags into 5 sets of 30. So you want to do as much research where you have 30 sets, but you have 5 of them. You want to make sure that you're posting the tags to your caption or in the first comment within 60 seconds of posting. So if you can fit it into your caption within the caption limit, great. But if you can't, then add it to the first comment of your actual post, in which case you would have to do that within 60 seconds. Otherwise, the algorithm will not recognize your hashtags. You also want to experiment with different sets on your page because you might find that there's one set that performs really well and another set that doesn't. And that's why it's so important to kind of test out different sets and hashtags for your own account and see, you know, if you click on the hashtag, you will see how far up and how low down your post has kind of been on the actual kind of top post or recent post of the Explorer page. So for example, if we had the hashtag therapy and we use that in one of our posts, we would click on therapy, the hashtag, and then we would scroll until we see our actual post. And once we see it, we can then see actually how far down is it, or is it even searchable? Am I even able to find it through a couple of scrolls, or is it really far down and very difficult for people to find me on this particular hashtag? In which case you would then stop using that hashtag and you would replace it with something that's a bit more kind of appropriate for your account. You also want to make sure that you're not copy and pasting the same set of hashtags from your note section. So what people do is they do their hashtag search and then they copy and paste it into their note section. and then they will use the same hashtags every single time they post. This is something that Instagram does not like, because Instagram does not like repetition. It likes new, fresh behaviors from people as much as possible. And what I mean by that is that, say, for example, if you were trying to comment and engage on the platform, what you will find is that you are maybe posting like, hey, love your content. And you might copy and paste that comment onto lots of different accounts. What will happen is after you've done that a couple of times, you will actually get banned from Instagram, because Instagram doesn't like repetitive action. It doesn't like spammy action. So if you are using the same sets of hashtags again and again and again, that can cause something that's called shadow banning on your account or on the hashtags that you're using. And so you want to make sure that you're jiggling up the hashtag sets as much as possible, which is why it's helpful to have 5 sets of 30, because then you can just use it. If you're having 5 posts a week, you can use 1 hashtag set per day. And obviously you want to make sure that you're tweaking it to make it super relevant to the post. So, you know, it will be slightly different every single time. But what can help as well is that you just kind of jiggle around sets as well. So you can have the same hashtags if you want to, but then you just change up the order of them so then they don't look the same. And again, it doesn't look repetitive when you are posting. Another thing that you also want to do is make sure that you're not becoming obsessed with hashtags. Yes, this is a hashtags mini training, but you want to make sure that you're using this information in a way that's helpful for you and you're not becoming obsessive over it, because hashtags is not the only thing that's going to move your content out there and also allow the right traffic to your page. You also want to make sure that you are engaging. And in my opinion, I think engaging works a lot better than obsessing over hashtags. So here's a little bit of an idea of how you can engage. So engagement basically includes commenting genuine comments on other people's accounts. Liking posts is not going to be enough. You have to make sure that you're commenting and engaging just like you would if you were to join a conference or if you were to visit an event where you were to meet new people. You would speak to those people. You would connect with them. You would ask them questions. You would engage with them. Same thing happens on social media. You're just doing it behind a screen, but you're still using your genuine thoughts and comments and opinions to basically engage on platforms, on different pages and the platform. You want to think about spending time engaging with your feed and account 20 minutes before and after to warm up the algorithm and to make sure that it's still kind of churning even after you've posted. It just helps for the Instagram algorithm to know that something is coming. So I need to kind of get ready to push this person's content out there if you are engaging 20 minutes before, and it will continue doing that if you are engaging 20 minutes after. So even if you don't have the time to comment, you know, all the time, to engage all the time, then prioritize that engagement for the times when you are going to be posting your content. You want to repost any post to your stories after posting so people can find it through your hashtags and your stories. One of the main things that people do is they may have you on their Instagram, they may look at your feed, but people are so engaging through stories. That is where a lot of the action happens. That is where you can find content not kind of sitting dormant just on a feed, but actually being kind of active and engaging when you're actually posting it on your stories. So whenever you've posted something on feed, within 60 seconds of making sure that you've got your hashtag up there and everything, you then want to make sure that you are then also posting it onto your stories. So anybody that engages with your stories more than your feed is also seeing that content. And then finally, you want to make engagement as fun as possible. You want to make sure that you are having a laugh in the comments and being humorous where it's appropriate. Mental health is serious. It is obviously something that we need to make sure that we are supporting people with in a sensitive way. But we can also normalize experiences through humor, through opinions that are kind of, you know, joyful, and just basically sharing and kind of empathizing with people to help normalize their experiences. And you can do that in a fun way. So making sure that you're also having fun with it and not being so serious all the time. So remember that you have to keep all your hashtags relevant. There's a lot of different opinions out there right now, like how many hashtags should I be using for reels, for posts, for other things, like how many? And the truth is you use as many that are relevant. Now, obviously, the more hashtags you use, the more search you can gain or the more traffic you can gain. So try to use all of them, but obviously make them as relevant as possible. So if you've thought of all the different keywords and searches that you can for the actual keywords and phrases, as much as you can for your hashtags, and you've kind of run out of things to actually put down, then just don't put anything else. Just leave it at that. And if it's at 20, then that's totally fine. But make sure they're as relevant as possible so they get as much reach. So there are a couple of tools out there that can really help you as well with hashtag searches. I've used 2 different apps in my time, one being the hashtag Slayer app, which I've been doing on their 7-day trial period. It's been actually quite good. So I definitely encourage you to have a look at them. And then one that I also used on a paid basis where I had like an annual subscription. I think it was about £30 and I used it last year. And it was with hashtag expert. And again, it just helped me to pick out the right hashtags with hashtag expert to make sure that I was then again making sure that I was getting to the right people. So those are some tools that you can use to take away some of the burden of searching for things and really kind of using a lot of time to figure out what the hashtags for your account are and which ones are going to be best for reach. So I guess that brings us to the end of today's little mini training. I hope you guys found it helpful. Don't hesitate to come and share with me your experiences of hashtags on my Instagram at @mypsychbizcoach. And you can also catch me on YouTube, which is here, of course. If you're already on YouTube, then please do subscribe to the channel and make sure that you like this video as well, because it helps a lot. And if you do want to see more information or more ideas around making sure that you get as much reach on social media for your private practice and your psychology business, then please do comment below and I will try to get as much content up as possible that's helpful for you. I hope you guys found this helpful and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a lovely day.